Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dorothy Morgan, and I'm a professional astrologer. You can find me on the web at nhastrologer.com. Today, we're going to talk about the eclipse that we have coming up. It's a full moon lunar eclipse on December 21st, and it's at 3:13 a.m., and that's Eastern Time. It's at 29 degrees of Gemini. Now, if that wasn't difficult enough, an eclipse and full moon at the last degree of Gemini, we also have Mercury, Gemini's ruling planet, retrograde, and in Gemini's opposite sign of Sagittarius. So there's a lot going on around communication. So I know all of you know, and you should know or be aware by now, that the full moon is the culmination of events and that everything that we've been focusing on over the last 2 weeks. It's a time to release what no longer serves us. But in this case, since we have an eclipse, and they're always powerful, more powerful than their normal full moons, that means what we'll be working on and able to release are things that started around the last eclipse, which was a solar eclipse on July 11th. So now what we have to do is, those things that we started around July 11th, they've either taken on a life of their own, so we don't have to focus so intently on their outcome, their purpose, or we may realize that something that we did initiate back in July doesn't really fit us anymore, or wasn't just the appropriate thing to do. I mean, there's lessons to learn, but it's time to release it. So there's a couple of options there with whatever it is that we started on July 11th, right around July 11th. So what this eclipse will do, since we're focusing mainly on Gemini energy, is it will bring to our attention old conversations we had, agreements we've made over the last 6 months, all forms of communication. Bringing that, being that this eclipse is also, again, it's in Gemini, but it rules the throat chakra, which is our ability to speak. We may need to make amends, and this is the key for this eclipse, I believe, in my opinion. There's lots of other things this eclipse will do for us, but to me, and through my meditations, what I get is that the main issue with this eclipse is that we need to speak our truth, right from the throat chakra, which is Gemini's ruling area. And we need to make amends. We need to forgive ourselves. We may need to forgive somebody else for something that has happened. So this is about speaking up, whether you can do it in person or even through a meditation or through your full moon ritual, when you write something down that you completely and totally forgive somebody, and then you burn the paper and you release it. So release past actions and forgive where it's necessary so we can move forward is basically the key component with this eclipse. This eclipse is also part of a mutable T-square with Jupiter and Uranus, both in Pisces. They are at the midpoint, so they're halfway between the sun and the moon. So this is a very important thing. What that means is that we actually have, and they're both, Uranus and Jupiter are now both direct in Pisces, so we actually have the universal energy available to us. We need to truly, once and for all, we can move out of any of our old ways, old stubborn ways of thinking, so we can allow a new spiritual path to unfold in front of us, and one that we're willing to commit to. I mean, as soon as we have this eclipse, the sun moves into the sign of Capricorn, within a few hours, and so we have the solstice, the birth of the sun god, the birth of God, the son of God, any way you want to see it. The sun in the northern hemisphere will now start to grow again. So with this eclipse, if we take the time and the necessary steps as mentioned, we'll be able to set ourselves up for new ways of thinking and being. We can use the Uranus and Jupiter in Pisces to put us on a new spiritual path, or just to help us increase our spiritual path, the path that we're on. But be open to new ways of healing, new religions, new spiritual beliefs. Be very open to these things, because this is what we're stepping into. This is like the new vibration that people are talking about, that the planet is presently in. And these eclipses are meant for us to release our old ways, so we can step into a new vibration, a new spirituality within ourselves, within our communities, within the world. And we Really need it now. So a few things, let's get back to real basics with eclipses. Eclipses are neither good nor bad, as life. We can label it what we want, but they're neither good nor bad. We do need to keep in mind that eclipses do bring on events that we didn't realize were going to be part of our lives so quickly. So it brings things in rather quickly for some people, which labels them unpredictable. I'm going to give you specific information about the Gemini energy and the other planetary influences, but they are still unpredictable. So be open, be present. All of these energies are immutable signs, so that means we can move and go with the flow. Much easier than the fixed T-squares we've been dealing with, that we dealt with for a year and a half. That ended a few months ago. But the mutable T-square, really wonderful energy, if we're willing to take the steps to do it. That's the main thing. We need to take action. With Mercury retrograde currently, and will be till the end of the year, it'll be a slow process. It won't be as quick as we anticipate. We'll be redoing a few things, but that's fine. We don't need to be in a hurry, but do take steps as well. More information on the eclipses. Similar to the new moons and full moons, something has to end so something can begin. This eclipse is a turbocharge for an ending. So either on December 21st or within 3 days of either side is when we expect the energy of these eclipses to show up. But some people won't feel it until a month later, and again 3 days on either side of that date. And some people who are very sensitive will actually feel it a month early. So we're looking right around December 20th, December 21st. I started feeling things at that point with the eclipse. And many other people have too. Big changes, big shifts. So we can feel it a month before, a month after, give or take 3 days on either side. And that is a pretty standard belief with all astrologers. So let's work through this one. There's some changes coming, in regards to travel. We've already seen that with the new scanners that they have at airports, but there could be more. There will be some changes around freedom of speech. And then on a personal level, speaking up for ourselves and what it is that we need to do, being honest with ourselves, thinking things through a little more thoroughly, and occasionally we need to say thank you but no to requests made on our time, because I know I just get too busy. There's so many people wanting this and this, and family mostly, and it's okay once in a while to say no. So let's use our time wisely and just speak up for ourselves. So again, throat chakra, Gemini. And to touch really quickly back on the winter solstice on the same date, a few hours after the eclipse, this doesn't happen too often that we have eclipses on solstices. So as mentioned, it's the birth of the sun. So it's time for us to release what we need to release, and then we can start bringing new things into life. What are you going to birth this time of year? What are you going to release? We know labor pains and the labor of childbirth it can be difficult for many people, many women, and but at the end result is something fabulous and wonderful. So we're in a 2-week time period right now between eclipses. The next one is on January 4th. So in this 2-week time period, it's kind of like the labor pains of what we're going to birth from the belief of the birth of the sun god, the son of God, on the 21st, the birth of the sun. The sun is now growing. So we have an opportunity here to work through some things over the next couple of weeks and bring to life what you want to bring to life. And it's a fabulous opportunity. So use the next 2 weeks to clear the deck and pay attention to what you hear around you and what you see around you and what you know needs to be shifted and changed. Change isn't easy for anybody, but that's the only place that we find growth. And if you're willing to make some changes that you want, we'll be able to get through this next year. There's 6 eclipses next year in 2011, which is huge, and I'm sure you'll stay informed. But using this eclipse energy and what you gather from this video today, you'll be able to move through these eclipses more easy, with ease and grace. a lot easier than people who don't have this information available to them. So share if you like what you're hearing. All right, thank you. Thank you so much for a wonderful year. Thank you all for listening. I love your responses and your posts, and I really do appreciate you watching my little videos out of the millions that we have on YouTube. Please visit my website, and you can join my mailing list right there on the front page. My website has this forecast written out so you can read through it. There's classes and sessions and all kinds of fun things. Right now, between now and the 20th, I'm having a special on gift certificates. So if you would like to purchase one of those, you can purchase one for a friend, for yourself for later in the year. They're at a discounted price, so those are on my website. And what I'm going to post up in just a little bit is a special for the eclipses, so you can see where this is happening in your own chart, because I've given you a lot of good information here about what we need to release in regards to communication and forgiveness, but where it specifically happens in your own chart and other planets that this eclipse is influencing will make it more specific for you. So 2 great deals. There's a special there for that too. So thank you for listening, and I wish you all a happy and prosperous new year, and in love and light. Namaste and blessed be.